Treatment of women in Pakistan's criminal justice. Women are underprivileged in Pakistan's criminal justice system. The law of evidence, for instance, does not give the same weight to the testimony of a female witness of crime as it does to a male witness. The law has been amended by virtue of the Protection of Women, Criminal Laws Amendment Act, 2006. However, this act has separated rape and fornication, returning the former to the Pakistan Penal Code, 1860. Though DNA evidence has recently been utilized in Pakistan in rape cases such as the Zainab rape and murder case. Yet on May 30, 2013, the Council of Islamic Ideology held that DNA is not admissible evidence in rape cases, thus shifting the onus back on the testimony of 4 male witnesses. This has severely jeopardized female rape victims who find it impossible to prove false the allegation of fornication or zina. Instead, the rapists get the benefit and are allowed to go scot-free. Imprisonment has different impacts on women as compared to men. In prison, women experience problems with accommodation, inappropriate staffing, lack of family contact, lack of education, and lack of proper health care. A high proportion of women prisoners have a history of mental, physical, or sexual abuse. Inadequate health care services and lack of safety from abuse can worsen these problems. The effect of imprisonment on the physical health of women is often a direct result of the poor conditions of jail, including an overcrowded environment, poor sanitary facilities, lack of physical and mental activities, and lack of appropriate health care. One of the primary barriers to addressing various health problems is the inability to access healthcare services upon their re-entry into society, either through denial of access or inability to afford healthcare insurance. In Pakistani jails, there are rare educational and vocational programs for technical training of women to keep them mentally busy. Those that are available are less varied and of poorer quality. Women in prison are affected by imprisonment in a particularly harsh way. The human rights and basic dignity of women in prison are systematically violated. The country's criminal justice system has failed to deter perpetrators of honor killings, domestic violence, forced marriages, rape, and family feuds. Pakistan's judiciary, at the lower levels and sometimes even at the higher levels, tends to reinforce discriminatory customary norms rather than securing constitutionally guaranteed gender equality. The justice system in Pakistan is predisposed to the notion that women victims of rape have a morally casual attitude. Regardless of what the law says, at the end of the day, the law is interpreted by societal norms, which can result in the miscarriage of justice. In addition to the formal justice system, the parallel informal system of community arbitration, panchayat or jirga, also perpetuates injustice against women. Women are further victimized through contradictions of these parallel legal systems within the same society. A prime example is the case of Mukhtaran Mai, who was gang raped in her village in June 2002 on the orders of a tribal panchayat. There have been instances when the lower judiciary, especially, has interpreted the law through the lens of social, cultural, and sexual bias. It has assumed, for instance, that women are incapable of deciding for themselves and need a guardian to validate their marriage. This has resulted in many women being imprisoned in cases of adultery, instituted by relatives not approving of their right to marry at will and invalidating their lawful marriage. In cases of honor killings, mitigating factors are often taken into account for men, but not for women, because men are assumed to be guardians of family honor. In cases of domestic violence, women are forced to reconcile with the perpetrators of violence, often the husband. Even if the matter reaches the court, the general attitude is that they should always be reconciled, leaving the victims without legal protection and at the mercy of their violent relatives and abusive partners.